HBCU Overdrive is proudly sponsored by WeWorkForEverything.org. At WeWorkForEverything.org, this is for those who are trying to build for a dream with their latest hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, and accessories and more. You can have it all here at a reasonable price. Black owned and operated out of the great state of New York. Like I said, get suited and booted. Check it out at WeWorkForEverything.org. Peace. What's going on, everybody? What is going on? What is going on? What is going on today? It is Monday, August the 7th, the year of our Lord, 2023. And we are back in this thing. I told y'all I'm going to take my week off on Monday. At the Monday show, I'm going to take my week off and basically come in, and we were just going to go ahead and do everything the right way. So we are back in the building. What's going on, Big Act? Everybody, what's going on? What's going on? My boy Craig Hollers up in here is in the building. B-Rob, how you doing? Miss Aquay, one of the moderators, the main moderator of this channel. She will be checking for y'all. Let's not get out of line. What's going on, man? What is going on? So we got Valley in the house. Mr. Hunt is always coming in from Monroe, Louisiana, down the road. But yeah, it was a good day. It was a good week to be off for the week. Even though I did go up on a couple of shows, and I did, I made my presence on a couple of shows. I took the liberty of not doing anything for my show as of now, but I did drop a couple of things on the. I did drop a couple of things while I was out, as far as some videos, the interviews with the coaches. So y'all go ahead and look at that. Run those numbers up. Run those views up. Everything. Run them up. Run the views up. Run the views up. My week was good. It was crazy. It's y'all already know how the week started out last week. It started out crazy. We're not gonna get into that because that was yesterday's news. But other than that, after that, we haven't. I mean, I've been good. I've been cool. We are still pushing our initiative. So my goal is going to be $2,000 to raise up for the initiative. Ms. Aquay, make sure you go ahead and put the initiative as far as for child speech impairment. Other than that, man, we're going to get into it. So I'm going to bring my guy up here, man. And before we get to the band stuff, we got to talk about some stuff that's going on his side of the fence and what he does. But I'm bringing my guy on. He is part of the HBCU Nightly contributors. Herbert Sewell III from Big Bama State in the building.
What's up?
What's going on, man?
What's going on, man?
We good. So I want people to know what you're about, where they can find you and everything, and what is your platforms.
Bruh, where to start? I'm kind of like the Headleys, man. I'm all over the place, man. Like Doc said, man, I'm part of the lineup for HBCU Nightly. More often than not, I'm doing covering HBCU athletics and culture. But like you said, there are a multitude of platforms that I have content on. Uh, but for tonight's purposes, I'm just going to start off with the platform that is for HBCU marching bands and all about HBCU marching bands, and that's View from the Sidelines. You guys can see content there at www.halftimeglory.com. That's www.halftimeglory.com. That's View from the Sidelines. And
we got Edwin with the 12-man front.
Oh, he funny. They starting already. I love it. But yeah, man. I also run a hoops, a prep and college basketball platform, focusing on the DC metropolitan area and HBCU colleges, called Hallowed Hoops Ground. I can be reached there at hallowedhoopsground.com. And I've got content all over the place, man. Whether it's HBCU sports, HBCU digital network, fan-sided, covering the SWAC and MEAC in terms of college basketball. Saturday Blitz for college football. I got a few pieces of content there. So yeah, man. Wherever you see me at, on Twitter, I'm HHL Seward the Third or HHL Seward 3 on Twitter. Yeah, I think that about covers it, at least for right now. But yeah, man. Anytime you guys see me online, you won't be able to miss my feed because that's all I pump is the culture, HBCU bands, HBCU sports, HBCU news and athletics, in the most positive light possible.
Right.
I think people, I think that's kind of understated sometimes. So, but yeah, we got a lot to talk about tonight, man. For real, a lot.
Yeah.
And
so before we get to that, I want to get to this, y'all. What do y'all think about this, man? And it's been on national news, y'all. It's been it's been on the Montgomery riverboat brawl. First of all, you know how they say, black people say, you doing your job, you doing too much with your job. So, dude, you know what I'm saying? The dude that work on the dock, basically, he worked the dock, so he doing what he's supposed to do. And the pontoon boat is basically just sitting there. Then he's letting them know you got to move because there's an actual riverboat coming in and it needs to dock. So I'm like this. He doing his job. He getting paid for what he do. He getting paid, he getting paid for what he does. So he doing his job, and next thing you know, they going back and forth. While at it, whoever was filming on the other side, everybody on the other side that was on another boat basically was like, I think they're telling them that they bust out Ludacris move, bitch. Like literally, it did. I really would want to say, when it start, when the brawl start going, all I wanted to hear was Al Capone whoop that trick. But nah, I didn't hear that in my head. I heard the glass break, and I heard Stone Cold Steve Austin.
that was straight WWE right there, man. For real.
I promise y'all, I ain't never seen nobody take chair shots unless you're a wrestler. If you're a wrestler, like pro wrestler, you can take chair shots like that, and that wasn't no plastic chair. Those like real hard metal chairs right there. Like I'm talking about, he going to town on that dude, going to town on that one. I was like, you know what?
Yeah, I can't call
it that alone.
Man, look, I'll just say this. One, the fact that this happened in Montgomery and right down the road from my alma mater, leaves me with a big warm fuzzy spot in my heart. It warms my cold heart. and
Wow.
I gotta say, man, from the moment that that boat pulled into the dock, social media has not failed us.
Oh no. Oh no. It
It
was
is. It has been. I haven't laughed this hard in the last. I haven't laughed this hard in months.
I will put the video up of Stone Cold just walking down the ramp, both legs with the knee braces on, get ready to whoop somebody's ass. I would do that, but I don't want to get copyrighted by
Yeah,
WWE. So we
yeah,
don't.
man.
So just put that in your put that in your head, put it in your picture that Stone Cold is coming down the ramp and he looking to stun everybody. Like literally, that's what he did. That literally that's what that dude did. Basically, he held his ground.
Well, I'm well. I mean, salute to the cat that jumped from the riverboat and swam across the river to get to
Yeah.
the pier. That's the MVP right there for
Oh
real.
yeah. Oh
Me,
yeah.
you know, I mean, between that and the old dude throwing up the bat signal, with his hat, the call for Voltron, that was. I mean, to me, that was probably the funniest thing about that whole episode. And it's just, I mean, it's we can laugh about it, but at the same time, it says a lot about where we're at.
Yeah. It
It
does.
says a lot about where we're at, and on a lot of different fronts, it says a lot about where Black folk are. Why Black folk reacted the way they did. Seeing that because for a long time, man, we've been desensitized to acts of violence being perpetrated against people
Right.
of color, and it was refreshing to not see apathy, you know, in this instance.
Now it was refreshing to see somebody get their head busted open with a damn phone chair. Like literally. I don't condone violence. I don't. I'm the most everybody know I'm the most chill person. I'm the most laid back. I could be nonchalant and it irritates it irritates even my fiance. Like I could be nonchalant to the T. But I'm like, man, yeah, chair shots for everybody. All you need, all that was missing was Vince McMahon getting stunned and a couple of beers being thrown on the other side from the river. That was all
dude,
that was missing right there.
dude, man, I can't, yeah, I couldn't stress that. I can't stress that enough, man. How, you know, that entire scene, just, the ancestors is just, looking down at the whole scene like, yeah, yeah, I think it's starting to sink in now for them. So I mean, we're going to be talking about this for months because
Oh yeah, it's gonna be.
it ties into a lot of what's going on in this country right now.
Oh yeah,
But for today, and in the short term, it's really, really refreshing to be able to not just sit back and have a chuckle at how things went down, but not feel bad about how things went down.
oh no, I look. They fucked around and found out.
Pretty much.
like like literally, yes, they messed around and found out what was going on. Um, another thing going on before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show. Uh, we got the Mississippi primaries. I think I don't know if they're today or not, but if you haven't checked it out, if you haven't checked it, go check out Sheila's D. I think she's talking about it in like another 15 minutes. But make sure y'all go in between my show and her show and get them views up. But I also in sports today, in sports now, Diana Taurasi getting 10,000 points for the WNBA. She's the only one to get 10,000 points, so I think she is considered the damn GOAT. I don't care what anybody say. She is the GOAT of the WNBA. Um, even though she did get popped for PEDs one time, so she got suspended one time. But other than that, her resume speaks volumes. So It's crazy for somebody to get 10,000 points, let alone a woman to get 10,000 points um, in basketball. Because um, this is a male driven league. We all know that. My only knock about this is I wish we would get more representation from the NBA to help out with the WNBA as far as financially, because I think they need it more than ever. And since the game is growing, I think the NBA needs to just say, forget it. We just gonna go ball. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go all in, um, and support the WNBA full hearted. And I know the thing we gonna talk about is you got to get the fans up in there, but that should work out when you have a good product out there. Fans gonna come regardless. So
Yeah, I agree. I think it's something that and I mean we've talked about this on HBCU nightly,
mhm.
um, you know, on occasion as well. And I'll be the first one to say it as a basketball fan, as a purist, you know, I could watch basketball, anywhere, whomever is playing it. It doesn't matter if it's men, women, what have you. If you like the game, you like the game.
Right,
Um, and I think a lot of times when we talk about the WNBA, or rather people talk about the WNBA in the vein that it's quote unquote not entertaining or whatever,
right,
it's, I mean, you either have a superficial knowledge of the game or you don't, and a lot of times those people that comment and chime have other things that they want to comment and chime on, but they don't, and they
right.
kind of focus it through the game. Um, the one thing I will say about the WNBA is that they could do a better job um, bringing, you know, uh, the fan bases that identify with women's basketball in college to the to the WNBA platform.
Right.
I think that's a big thing. Um, that's something that that's something that their marketing has to address. But you got star power in the league. Just from those things. You just got to realize that there's times where you can utilize it. So um, I mean, I think that's. I mean, I don't. You know, I can sit back and watch the WNBA just like I could watch the NBA. So it's
Right.
just to me that's just something that that really that has more to do with folks getting more used to the medium and seeing those women play, rather than saying that this isn't going to work or this won't work.
Oh, okay. I understand, man. Trying to do this poll right here, get people's opinion. It's just everybody's opinion. But let's see what else we got, man. I know another thing that we got going on is, and we're gonna talk about this. We'll talk about it a little bit tonight, but I know I'm gonna have a whole show about this on Wednesday. Um, uh, dearly departed, we come to you as the Pac-12 is no more.
Man,
I'm trying to figure out what was the commissioner for the Pac-12 smoking on?
yeah, smoking on something really seriously.
Just like literally, like you waited for a TV deal. I think Apple Plus was going to give them a TV deal. It wasn't. It wasn't enough. Um, and you saw the dominoes fall. Basically, we saw the domino fall when UCLA, USC went to the Big Ten. When they said, "We forget y'all, we going to the Big Ten." Then you see you start seeing it just start to crumble. The infrastructure start to crumble when Colorado decide, okay, we just gonna go back home to the Big 12. I mean, I feel like they should have never left the Big 12 in the first place. They should have stayed there. They would have made more money there. They would have a chance to get into Texas as far as recruiting wise. Basically, I just felt like Colorado should have stayed in the Big 12. Now, over the weekend, you get it to where Oregon and Washington decide to say, yep, we're going to go ahead and go to the Big 10 because I feel like Oregon, Washington, UCLA, USC are your quote-unquote money-making schools, with USC being, the top dog. Then the Big 12, like, all right, we'll one-up you. They went after the Arizona schools and Utah. So it's like the Big 12 is basically saying we're not going to be the little sisters of the poor. We're not going to be the little sisters of the poor when it comes down to this TV rights deal. We're not going to be on the outside looking in when it comes to the college playoffs because that's really what it is. We're not going to look out. We're not going to be stupid to not miss. You basically just not miss this money. That's all that is. And the 4 remaining schools is in Stanford, Oregon State, Washington State, and Cal. If I'm them, I'm going to the Mountain West. Unless I'm Stanford has a brand. Their brand is big as hell. As far as academics go, I think they go independent, and I think they could, they could survive off of being independent.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, I think that's the only move you got for the remaining schools. The Mountain West, yes. Is it? I mean, is it a demotion of sorts? Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we got no choice. Um, I mean, I know news today. You're talking about Cal and Stanford. Somewhat talking to the ACC. I don't see how that's going to work. I just don't.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't. And I'm a guy that that's from ACC country. I don't see the Bojangles conference doing any forking over any type of money or getting out of that grant of rights that they got. I just don't. I don't see that happening, man.
That man said the Bojangles conference. Boy,
hey man, that's what we call them, man. The Bojangles conference, man. The Bojangles and Biscuitville conference. And that has more to do with their business practices than basketball. I mean, basketball's been, that's where the conference has kind of made its bones at. But yeah, I don't know, man. Swafford and those guys, I don't know. I can't call it.
This is crazy, man. I just had to bring that in there because, like, I'm like, I've never seen a conference die. Yes, I have. I saw the old Southwest Conference die and merge with the Big 8 and became the Big 12. So I seen it happen. But on Wednesday, we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about basically what does that mean for our institutions as far as when it comes to playing football. That's the main thing. It's about football. This is all about football. All right, you got Mr. Ford coming on. That's my resident guru. So we're gonna get into this as far as these bands go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So we got it. So, man, look, people asked for it. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to hear. They asked for it. We got a band national championship coming during the weekend of the Celebration Bowl, which is going to be totally, I won't say funded, but it is funded. It's going to be totally funded and basically ran by ESPN. So Um, how you doing, Mr. Ford?
Hey, how's it going? I miss you this weekend.
I know. I've been look. I
Yeah,
took my hiatus, man. I
I know
told
it. I miss you. I miss you Friday. I look for you Thursday, Friday, and I look for you Saturday.
you. No, but we about to get to talking to this about this national championship for the bands.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
so go ahead, Herb. Let people know who's running this, and then like let them know what the like some of the criteria for.
Well, essentially, from what ESPN has put out already, I'm gonna put this disclaimer out there that they're going to put out more information in more detail in terms of what the rubric and the judging criteria is going to be. Um, but for those of you guys out there that are familiar with what the undefeated was doing in terms of doing the national band polls when the undefeated was the undefeated rather than Anscape now. Um, they were doing a weekly poll where they would, actually score shows, score bands and the like. And um, this is what this is. The only difference
Mm-hmm.
is that this is a more concrete framework in terms of determining a pecking order, determining a national champion. Um, ESPN plans on doing weekly rankings. John Grant did an interview a while back, um, I believe on BCSN network,
Mm-hmm.
and he likened it to the Bowl Championship Series for marching bands, which I agree with to an extent. I have my own opinions about that, and I have my own opinions on how far things should go because I think what's covered is a really good step. It's a good first step, um, but it doesn't encompass everything that the culture is about, that the performance art is about. But essentially, from what we've gotten from early news in regards to that, um, this is going to be strictly evaluated via halftime show. From my understanding, ESPN and the adjudication committee that's running it, headed up by Don Roberts, who's a FAMU guy, um, they're going to be contacting all the schools that are going to be, in the mix participating, which, for both divisions. And, directors are going to be able to pick what shows they want adjudicated. And, I think it's going to be 4 shows that are going to be used as as the standard, and each show is going to be scored, and whoever scores the highest qualifies for a championship weekend. It's going to be 2 bands from Division 2 or the mid-major ranks, and 2 bands from Division 1 or the high major ranks that are going to be there on that weekend. And they're going to face off and get crowned national champion band of the year, um, for Division 1 and Division 2. And I think the one thing that Grant emphasized above everything else is that this is competition. This isn't, the same framework that we're used to, where, we have battle of bands, but it's called an exhibition or something along those lines. Um, it's competition, and they're going to evaluate it as such. So, I'm really looking forward to seeing, how this plays out. Like I said, I have my own ideas about, what's going to go into, getting people to that championship weekend. Um, you know, I did the poll for VFTS for the Division 2 preseason poll, top 10, earlier this weekend. I'm going to be dropping. Matter of fact, I'm going to be dropping the major Division 1 poll after this show tonight, so folks can stay tuned for that. Um, I think it's since it's just strictly going to be field shows, I think folks are going to be kind of surprised as to um, who's going to be where,
Mm-hmm.
because I think one thing about what we've seen in the craft to this point is that been a decided shift to what we do in the stands, how we sound in the stands and battle the band situations, gym battles, things of that nature, where this is kind of bringing it back to the essence of what built the craft, which is on the field. So, I like that part of it.
I got my girl Paris. who is part of well, she was part of the Sonic Boom back in the day. Let them know what's going on, Paris.
Hi, Doc.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Everybody doing well. Let everybody know who you are, Miss Paris, and where you went to school and who you marched for. For those that don't know.
Well, I'm Paris. Graduated from Jackson State 2016. Crab in the Boom 2011 to 2015, and Trump phone.
Uh oh.
Okay.
So what are your
Okay.
thoughts about this as far as having a national championship for the bands basically being brought by ESPN?
I feel as if it's long overdue for sure.
Thank you.
So it's long overdue. The big question I want to know, the big question I had, because we talked about this on Golden Boot last week, and we talked about this on HBCU Nightly, is about schools, the bands, the ones that don't pretty much go anywhere. Like you know what I'm saying? Like the ones that don't travel. And I'm gonna put it out there, i.e. Bethune-Cookman. You don't travel.
Yeah.
There's some other schools that don't travel. I mean, Prairie View. I love the Marching Storm. They don't travel like that.
Well, I think personally, man, I think the way the format is situated now, um, I'm glad it's situated the way it is, meaning in the sense that it kind of mitigates those concerns about travel, because it puts the onus on the committee, to pick the games that are more convenient for the programs that are going to be competing. Meaning that instead of having to, think about traveling to band A, band B, or band C to be evaluated, the directors and the staffs and the administrations can pick the shows that they want evaluated. In other words, those four shows that they're going to be using to evaluate you to advance you to the final. That director can pick a home game. Director can pick a game where they know travel is going to be set up and they know they're going to be performing. Um, and I think that, for this event, and mind you, I think that's a very valid concern. Um, and I think it's something that needs to be considered down the road, for other events and other endeavors that, want to really measure what the performance craft is that, yeah, you got bands that are not, um, that don't get the opportunity to travel, or more importantly, don't get the chance to see head-to-head competition on a regular basis. I can think of bands that are outside of HBCU conferences, like not Norfolk, but like North Carolina A&T, Tennessee State. They have some unique challenges because, they don't control who they schedule.
Right.
They don't control who they schedule, and their purse strings, their travel budgets, and all of that. They're at the whim of that stuff. So, I think people. I think an event like this, the way it's structured, is a good start. I think it's a good start in that sense where, you're not, part of the competition rubric isn't dependent on whether the band travels or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's dependent on how the band executes where they're at.
Okay.
So if that, like for example, if Jackson State is doing a show against Southern Mississippi, and the adjudication committee that's a show that's designated to be evaluated, the director and the staff are going to know in advance, and they're going to put their best foot forward. You know what I'm saying? So it's I think that's something I think those guys kind of took into consideration when designing the format the way that they did. That being said, it's still I to be quite honest, it's going to force a lot of programs to really do some self evaluation as to what they want to focus on.
Right.
You know,
So when and some I don't think some people don't understand that when you in the band and you going up against somebody else that's across the field from you, um, it's like you going to war. So what do you feel about how you feel about that, Paris? Like, do you tell people like when you was marching, like I want to just blow. I just want to, you know what I'm saying, just blow. I ain't gonna cuss. I just want to blow into to smithereens on the other side and let them leave out of the stadium with their heads hung, with their heads just drop down because they done got beat to sleep.
Well, definitely that will bring out the competition in me for sure. Is seeing another opponent across that field. Uh, I was taught definitely that you see anybody across the field, um, your objective is to get them up out the stadium.
yeah,
So,
I think that's a very valid. I mean, all of us were taught that. I think
Mm-hmm.
um, it doesn't matter what generation you are a part of. Now, I'll say this: that certain programs have different mentality in terms of how they perceive competition.
Right.
Like, I know a lot of FAMU folks, and the FAMU folks are more like, look, we're competing against ourselves. Or Southern, I know a lot of Southern cats. We're competing against past editions of the jukebox or things of that nature. Even though they won't outright say that they're competing against folks across the stadium on a given Saturday. Um, for us in Bama State, hey, I mean, if you're across the field, you're going to get it. It's just, and I mean, I think that mentality across the board is universal. Although some people, some programs kind of, they kind of, talk around it, but I think, for, I think that, I don't think, the way the format is set up is going to really affect that competitive edge because at
Right.
the end of the day, you're competing for a chance to be, front and center, you know, in the middle of, on Celebration Bowl weekend in Atlanta with money on the line. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that this isn't just, necessarily for bragging rights. It is, but there's a substantial monetary award that ESPN is not talking about
Right.
yet. That's attached to, completing the quest for a championship and being crowned the national championship or band of the year. So um, I'm interested in seeing how this plays out again because I think there are programs out there, and we'll talk about some of those programs, in detail on the show while we're here. That the way they go about business on the field, they're tailor made for the competition. You know,
Right.
they're tailor made for it. It's and I think it's going to be really interesting to see what programs do to adapt, to adjust, to try to tailor what they do on the field to engage audiences and to score well.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to boil down to.
So you just talk about different schools. So we now they got it like you said. They broke it down into two divisions. Division one, which is basically you would consider the SWAC and the MEAC schools, the three independent schools, and then you have Division two, which is your the SIAC, CIAA. You're talking about Langston. You're talking about those schools that are independent from the other black HBCUs conferences. So uh, I want to start off with Paris. Who do you think? Um, who are your schools to look for as far as the Division One and the Division Two, and the same thing what you heard. And then, Mr. Ford, you can get in on this too.
I'm listening. I'm learning.
Okay.
Yeah, I got some questions. Now, all of the bands from the SWAC are coming to Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl. The
Nope.
national, all of them are coming.
No, that's not how it's going to work.
Okay, how many coming?
Well, whoever the top two bands, from Division One, and the top two bands from Division Two are going to qualify for a championship weekend. Meaning that
Okay.
every band that's participating is going to have 4 shows that they're going to be evaluated on,
Right.
and the sum of those scores, whoever scores the highest, the top 2 bands from each division, that's who's going to qualify for championship weekend.
Oh, okay.
So it's not going to be every band that participates is going to make it. Bands going to have to earn their way to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, personally, I did the poll. I did a poll on Halftime Glory earlier this weekend. Preseason top 10 for the mid-major Division Two programs that that I think are going to really be contenders for that championship weekend. And the bands that really come up, just immediately stick out to me from that level of competition. Benedict.
Right. I saw them too. Yeah.
Yeah, Benedict
Yeah.
in terms of a total package, in terms of what they do on the field, from start to finish. To get a little technical, they're very theme oriented. There are not a lot of gaps in that show. And if anybody's watched a halftime show, a really good one, you don't see dead air in it. You don't see empty spots or spaces, in the show where there's no music or no activity going on.
Let me ask you this: is Talladega and Miles College, would they be analyzed to come to Atlanta? Because I saw Talladega and they look really good.
Yeah, Talladega and Miles are actually in the poll.
Okay.
And I think I got Talladega in the top 10. I got Miles in the top 5, I believe. The one thing I'll say about Talladega is, and I mean, Talladega's always got a lot of potential because they recruit well. They're one of the few big bands that are in the poll. But they have to be their precision on the field is sometimes inconsistent.
And who's that now?
That's Talladega.
Okay.
Sometimes, in an event like this where, halftime performances, how you execute, how you connect with audiences, how you convey a show's message to an audience is being evaluated. Every detail, the detail oriented win, and the folks that aren't detail oriented don't do so well.
Right.
And that's something that at times, when Talladega is detail oriented and they execute well and they stay on task in terms of how they, convey their show to the audience, they're hard to deal with, and they're hard to deal with for anybody in terms of, whether you're, in the SWAC or MEAC or wherever. But I think the things that set the top 5 apart from the rest of the top 10 is that there have been times where you've had to ask those questions. You've had to ask those questions about Lincoln, or Langston rather. You've had to ask those questions last year about Talladega. The one band in the poll that I think is a real sleeper, in my opinion, that has a real chance of taking what they do and translating it into a championship run is Kentucky State. And I think, and I mean, I'll just put this in perspective. I was at the the Pepsi National Battle of the Bands last year, covering it for HBCU Digital Network, and I was on campus at Texas Southern, and waiting for the ocean to come out, with my daughter, and Kentucky State was at the back of the campus, Anybody that's been on Texas Southern's campus knows
Yep.
there's a field at the back of the campus where the ocean practice is at. Those guys are only pushing about 110, 120 instrumentalists at most. And those guys were filling up the entire campus. Their sound quality is incredible. I mean, I got a chance to see those guys go head up against the program I'm from, Alabama State, this past year during a gym battle in the Midwest, and for pound, they're one of the best sounding programs I've heard in a minute. That's one of the reasons why I have them at number 2 in the poll. Um, some of the other programs, I think, like I look at Winston-Salem, they have potential. Central State has a pedigree with them that is probably the largest in the amongst the top 10, and they got a guy that's heading up the program down there now, that people that are in the craft know. Blake Gaines is the head band director at Central State now. Anybody that is familiar with Morris Brown back during their heyday in the mid '90s, late '90s, early 2000s, those were Blake Gaines bands when Morris Brown was a real monster. And Central State is essentially giving him the reins to take that program and mold it the way he wants to. Albany State is going to be interesting because the former head director at Kentucky State is now at Albany State. And, they were already making some pretty good advances, in that program in terms of, getting the instrumentation right and really developing an on-field identity. It's going to be interesting to see how they look, and I think that's what's got them in the poll. Savannah State is probably the smallest program out of the top 10, but if anybody's seen them on occasion, they have a really, really solid technical foundation. I like to call them, fam you like, because they push about 90 to 110 people, and there are no weak links there. There are no horn holders or people that take up, dead air on the field. They maximize sound, with their membership, and that's something that's really, that really stands out to me. Um, you know, eh, I think looking at that poll for championship weekend, if I were to just go off of my head right now and make a prediction as to who's going to make championship weekend in Atlanta out of Division Two,
Mm-hmm.
I would say probably Benedict.
Okay.
I think Benedict's a heavy favorite, and it would be a toss up between Kentucky State and Miles. I think Miles has a lot of potential to really take what they do on the field. As long as they execute well, they really do well with audiences when they do. I think they have a really good shot at getting there.
Okay. So we're gonna go into the Division One ranks, and I know Herb, you texted me
Yeah,
earlier, and
yeah. I can't say too much because I haven't released it yet. So, but we'll talk about some programs to look to look for. Um, and right offhand, I think people need to really understand what the criteria before I talk about favorites, and before I talk about who can who can make a run and make this championship thing work. Um, it bears reminding that what we do is what we do on the field. You know, that's what the competition is hinged on. That's what um, that's what it's going to be all about. That's what's going to get you to Atlanta is how you execute on the field, how you sound on the field, how your show connects with audiences on the field, what your show concept is, what your sound concept is,
mm-hmm.
how how your auxiliaries connect with the rest of your band, how connected how your announcer ties parts of the show together, for a cohesive performance. And I want people to really think about that within that framework, because a lot of times when we talk about Saturdays, we're talking about from zero quarter to fifth quarter,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we forget that um, some bands are really, really strong in that regard, and
Right.
there are other bands that need a little bit of work, for lack of a better term.
Right.
But some, without giving away the poll or anything like that, there's some names that come to mind. I think I said earlier that I think some on-field concepts are tailor made for this competition. The first program that immediately comes to mind is North Carolina A&T. I call North Carolina A&T the master of the themed halftime show,
Yeah,
because
they do got some good themed halftime shows.
because if you've watched the North Carolina A&T show from start to finish, you know there isn't anything wasted. There isn't any empty space. There isn't any empty time spent where the crowd is trying to figure out what's happening in the show,
Yeah.
and the sound quality is consistent from start to finish. Um, and I think that has more to do with the style that they engage in. Is it's a hybrid style of performance. Kind of half show style, half core style that they've implemented there. Um, the instrumentation for that type of performance is unique. Their auxiliaries are tailored for that type of performance. Um, and it's something that it's going to be hard to deal with. Once
Right.
the season gets started, and people really sit down and start to evaluate what they do on the field.
Yeah. So when we look at, I think when you look at this game of the list, and at number one, and Paris, I don't know, you ain't gonna like this at number one for D1. Uh, Southern is at number one.
Hey, man, see that's man, that's got to get released. I
Oh,
got to release it.
my bad, my bad. My bad. My bad. Hey, scratch that. We're gonna edit this out right here.
Yeah, we're kind of talking around it now. Mind you, we're
Yeah.
talking around it. So yeah, I'm gonna put that disclaimer out. The views of Doc Holliday are not necessarily views of View from the Sidelines. It's authors or contributors thereof. There you go.
Everybody, if you don't, well, Paris, I know you listen to it. You listen to us on Twitter, HBCU Nightly. You already know that Herb is the king of disclaimers on the show.
Indeed.
Yeah,
so,
man.
So, what do you think? I want to get Paris. I want to get your opinion as far as the D1. Like, who do you think? Who do you have that can come out of the D1 space?
Honestly, I like the improvement of Texas Southern Band.
Yeah, I agree. I do.
Mhm.
I think if Brian Simmons going down there. I mean that. I mean, and I'll say this because I think folks that follow Texas Southern, already know they have some pretty passionate fans, and they've always had potential to really, really, really be an effective band in conference. They've already had talented, staff people and composers, but Simmons just put them over the top in terms of the way he sees the craft, how he arranges music. And the change didn't take a long time to happen. I mean, the first season he was there, they took some lumps. That second season, they were smoking last year. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying? I saw what they did. I saw what they did to Prairie View on the Labor Day Classic. That wasn't pretty at all. That was kind of rough.
I
That was
watched
kind of
that.
rough. That was kind of rough. That was kind of rough to watch, especially that
I,
fifth
wa-
quarter.
I watched that game when they play. Like I said, when they played Southern last year. I was at that game right there, and just from the time I missed them marching into the stadium, but you know right when kickoff start, you get the June 27th playing, and sounded so crisp and so, you know what I'm saying, so clear, and then get all the way to halftime and to watch their halftime performance and to literally go on the literally on the other side and just beat Southern to death.
Yeah, I ain't never seen that before at all.
I had to watch it because I recorded it and I watched it, and then I watched it from the angle from their side of the field, and I was like, oh my God, I ain't never heard nobody get disrespected like that. It's just that was just a total annihilation. And I'm not saying that Southern is they running from the smoke, because I don't think they'll ever run from the smoke unless they play Jackson State. Then it's it's a no-brainer. I feel like you're running, but it was just a master's class when it was just a master's class. And when I heard them when they played, Paris, you in Houston, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so did you go to that game down last season?
No, I ain't go to that game. I went to the Texas Southern Jackson State game though.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I went to that game.
How was the sound when you was there?
It was a good battle. I can't say that.
Yeah,
And it was. So I give it even for the most part, because I ain't gonna lie, I did not stay for the fifth quarter for the first time, because that same day was the World Series.
The Astros won the World Series.
Yeah. I was trying to get down from the downtown area. I was trying to leave. So nah.
I forgot about that game. I forgot about that too. That's when we won the World Series.
yeah, I hear you, man. I think the other program that I want to really point out, and again, I'm not gonna divulge anything, poll wise, until I drop the poll and get a little bit more in depth as to why. But another band program at the major level that stands out to me, is Norfolk State.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Norfolk is one of those bands that has a unique style that you don't really see a whole lot. But their sound quality is, it's ridiculous. To me, it's among top 2 or 3 in all the HBCUs. It's up there. It's in terms of what they do and how it ties into the identity of that program on the field.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, everybody talks about Southern and Jackson, and I mean, to me, I look at Southern and Jackson State as two opposite ends of the same coin. I see those guys. I see Jackson. If there's anybody that really takes the style that they encompass and really connects with audiences, is Jackson. Tiger Run On, people that watch, HBCU bands knows what the Tiger Run On is. It doesn't matter if you've seen it for the first time, if you're from another program, you don't pay attention to it. If Jackson's in the stadium and they're about to take the field and they do a Tiger Run On, it's Jackson State. And I think, on the other side of that, you got Southern, and the way they drill, the way they execute on the field, in their identity, and, I know Jackson State folks absolutely hate hearing it. I think, they've been so consistent in terms of how they go about their business that, a lot of people really, they're mainstream for a reason. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's one other program that people don't really talk about or should talk about, more than they do,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Tennessee State. Um, Tennessee State is one of those programs where, you know, well, let's be real. They're extremely talented. Those guys won a Grammy last year. Outside of what they do on the gridiron, um, there have been times where the program has kind of been a little bit down, but McDonald and those guys that are over that program has kind of got them back. Um, and I think again, what they offer is pretty unique. We don't see them a whole lot, and that has a lot to do with them, um, not seeing the audiences that most SWAC and most MEAC bands see on a regular basis. But when you do see them, they very rarely make mistakes on the field. They've got good sound quality and they've got their own identity. In other words, they don't, there aren't elements of what they do that doesn't, um, how can I put this politically correctly? They don't copy anybody else. You know what I'm saying? And you guys know as well as I do, sometimes, those things, imitation is the worst, is the best form of flattery there is. But when it comes to marching band, it really isn't. And particularly with audiences that are pretty savvy and they know what they're looking at. And, if I see somebody that looks like Texas Southern come on after Texas Southern, those audiences are going to point it out. Or
Yeah.
if I see somebody that looks like Jackson State and they come on after Jackson State, it's like, okay, am I, what in the Xerox is going on here? But yeah, I think without going into too much more detail, I think there are going to be programs that when I drop this poll are going to be there, and there are going to be some programs that people are going to be surprised seeing, and where they see them at. So, um, yeah, man, I'm excited. To be quite honest with you,
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see the season get started because at the end of the day, it's going to force staffs, it's going to force directors to really think outside the box if they want to compete.
I know you told me this. We was talking about this on Golden Boot last week. I think you said one of the bands that you need to kind of watch out for that might be a sleeper. You told me Valley, Mississippi Valley could be a sleeper. Let the people know why Valley could be a sleeper as far as when it comes to the competition.
Well, I mean, Valley. Did I say Valley? Are you sure?
If not, oh well. Let's see why.
I mean, I think I was thinking more about Alabama A&M. Valley. Where did the Valley come from? But yeah, I think Valley. I think Valley getting a new influx of talent. There've been some big staff changes there. Um, I think it's going to make a really big difference in what you see.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're about a year and a half or so away. I think those guys really need to recruit, and recruiting in the state of Mississippi for Valley. I mean, it's a rough proposition in my opinion because you got Alcorn, and you got y'all in the same state competing for the same kids, and I mean, I don't know, man. It's going to take somebody really unique um, to really hit the ground running and make changes there that won't take a season or two at least.
Okay. Well, man, that'd be enough because I know he said he got to drop the poll for Division One, and he already dropped his first. This on my show. So, so we just gonna let it ride right there, y'all. like I said again, let everybody know where they can find you at. And I thank you, Paris, for coming on. I know it was kind of a shock to you.
Hey,
Yeah,
no problem.
yeah, and I just want the MMW folks out there to know that it took everything I had to give you guys a compliment um, on the show. So don't hit me up in DMs and push your luck. It ain't Magic City weekend yet. So, but yeah, man, I think I appreciate having having a platform tonight to talk about this because I think it like Paris said, it's way overdue.
Oh
It's
yeah.
way overdue, and it's something that if you're a band head or if you're a fan of bands or if you're just a casual fan that always wanted to know how much work and effort and sweat takes to go into putting these shows together, you're going to be able to see that firsthand, throughout the entire season. And there's going to be a lot of stories, a lot of content that goes behind it.
Okay.
So,
All
but
right, man.
but I will let people know later on tonight. I'm going to be dropping the major D1 top 10 preseason poll. For the chase for the national championship. That's going to be you'll be able to see it on my website from View for the Sidelines, and that's www.halftimeglory.com. That's www.halftimeglory.com.
All right.
Yeah, and once we drop it Wednesday night, we will definitely be talking about it. Hopefully, on HBCU Nightly. We know how folks like to photobomb the site, photobomb the show, and be taking over discussions.
Yeah.
But but yeah, hopefully we'll dive deeper into that once we drop it, and I'll definitely be engaging, all comers online after it's dropped tonight and tomorrow.
All right, man. I appreciate you for coming on because I know this was much needed. Um, and we're gonna continue going through when he drops the polls for D1 and D2. Make sure y'all check out Views on the Sideline. Um, I will post that. I will post each one on the show where everybody can actually look at it and go check it out. That way, it's easy for everybody to view. But I appreciate you, man. Hurt. I appreciate you. We'll be back on Wednesday, and I'll see you on Wednesday night, man.
Hey man, you know it. Thank you for having me on, bro.
Anytime.
All right.
All right. My bad. But yeah, man. Yes. My bad. Yes, it was good to have this. Mr. Ford, if you there, make you come on back up, because we gotta talk some football tonight. It's been a week since we talked football. And come on, Mr. Ford, you can go ahead and talk this football. I just sent the link to you. I don't know if you went to bed or not, but let's talk some football. But as y'all see, man, look, we got it's 67 people. Hold on. Anytime, man. But yeah, we got 67 people in. We are still doing an initiative as far as for child speech impediment. If you want to donate to the channel, you can hit the Cash App at excuse me. You can hit the Cash App at HBCU Overdrive. If you don't have Cash App, you PayPal. I'll send that information on the chat for PayPal. As long as we have the initiative, we're gonna go 2,000. We're gonna try to raise $2,000 to help out a child in need. Y'all will see me. Y'all will see receipts from this. So I don't want nobody to think that I'm just doing this just to be doing this. But yeah, in other news today, everybody's already on our case. Everybody's already on our case as far as Jackson State losing another player that decided to transfer back into the transfer portal. We're talking about John Grace III, who he was the D lineman that came out of Southeast Louisiana. Pretty much, I don't know too much everything that was going on there, but he decided that he wanted to go and jump in the transfer portal, and he ended up right there in Tallahassee, in Tally-Ho, with the FAMU Rattlers. He only got 1 year left, so he wants to go out there and play, and I feel like he wants to be. Basically, he wants to start. He wants to end his career with a bang, and I wouldn't consider, no other program except for that one. and yeah, you are right, Paris. That deep tackle room, the defensive line room is deep. Is deep as There's so much depth on the defensive line that you wouldn't know if he was going to play in the game. And I don't think he was a big loss for Jackson State. I don't think he's a big loss. Like, now, if it was Devontae Davis that decided that he wants to go somewhere else, now that is a big loss. If it was Jeremiah Williams that they decided they want to go somewhere else, that is a big loss for Jackson State. But I don't think this was a big loss for us. Also, Junior Humeli, he also entered into the transfer portal. The linebacker room is deep too, so that linebacker room was deep also with Jackson State. So I don't know where he would fit in with that linebacker core, but I hope that he considers a good school, preferably not anybody that's in orange green. But if he does go there, I hope he goes out there, he balls out, but just not against Jackson State. And I said it for him. But yeah, you got a lot of people on that defense is deep. And I don't think anybody understands what TC was doing. I don't think anybody understood what TC was doing as far as recruiting on the defense. And he knew that he needed depth on the defense because he didn't want to see what happened at the Celebration Bowl with losing 6 defensive linemen. That's the reason why he recruited defensive linemen so heavy, not only from the transfer aspect, but from the high school aspect too. Don't get me wrong, EA. Don't get me wrong. D-line rotation is good. I'm not gonna brag, but it would have been nice for him to stay, but I couldn't see where he was gonna come in that rotation. And the only thing you gotta understand too, you got players that can actually play both inside and outside. For example, Juice Reynolds. He can play inside. He can play 1, 2, 3 technique, and he can play the outside. He could be a pass rusher on the outside as also playing inside. It just, to me, when it comes down to it, this is just a game of chess. That's all that is. This is a game of chess. And I just want people to understand that TC wasn't, he's not tripping. He's not, I think he gets to go home and sleep well at night knowing that his team is going to be good, is going to be ready for South Carolina State. So I feel for that. We are less than what is today. Today is the 7th, and the game is on the 26th. We are less than 19 days away from week 0, MEAC SWAC Challenge. South Carolina State down in the A. We will have Kobe from Blitz City Podcast coming on to the show. We're going to do a breakdown of South Carolina State, and we're just going to go ahead and talk about, you know what I'm saying, it's a rivalry. We'll make it a rivalry if we wanted to. But it's good that he's going to come on the show and kick it with us on the show for that week. So we'll be dropping that that week of the MEAC SWAC Challenge. And also I will be getting, like I said, I'll still be getting in contact with other content creators from other schools where we can actually just go and kind of have a debate session. They should be able to play in September. Well, with John, he'll be able to play. He should be able to play in September because he's a grad transfer. Junior, because he came from JUCO. Don't know if he'll be able to play next month. But with Junior, I think with his situation, he's going to be in that portal for a second, that's how I feel, and I ain't gonna say that's what I know, but that's how I feel because he's going to be in that portal for a second. If somebody picks him up, that's the main thing. Who's going to pick him up? I don't know, Mr. Ford. If you're still on here, come on up. We talk about some football. Let's see. Really, there's no other. Really, there's no other thing, as far as moving around and stuff from different schools. But I just feel like when they, Jackson State is in the news for players leaving that school. Everybody had to make a big deal of it, but it is what it is. I'm dying over here. I know we talked about this earlier, but the internet is undefeated, y'all. It is undefeated. And what I mean is undefeated. I mean, black Twitter is undefeated. I have never seen it just so much camaraderie when it came down to that incident in Montgomery. And the dude who had the chair, like I said, all you need to do is just play the glass breaking and Stone Cold's music coming on, and he walking out with the chair, pigeon-toed and all, walking out with the chair with the knee braces on. I'm just dying, like I'm laughing because he was basically beating him like it was WWE. Other news, Coach Reed has been selected as a member of the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Oversight Committee. That's cool. Big ups to Coach Reed on that. Lord Jesus. Whitley, I need to add you onto to the moderator group chat. Get with I'm about to say get with either Akwe or Brandy, or get with Israel. Y'all, you just get the number so I can add you on to the group chat for the moderators. All right. And yes, Coach Reed is the GOAT. All right, I got you. What you got, EA? You said Willie signed a 10-year extension that would keep him at FAMU until 2032. All right. All right. Let's see. So he wants to keep losing to Jackson State for the next 10 years. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. He wants to lose to Jackson State for the next 10 years. I let him have it. Boy, they is still going in on this. And I'm gonna say this about this. I quit. Just give Whitley my number so I can add it to the group chat. But the best thing about this is, as far as that, in Montgomery, nobody got shot. Nobody. The only person that got hurt was people who effed around and found out, and the one who got that chair shot. And basically, everybody just went home alive. I'm gonna just put it just like that. Everybody just went home alive. Now, I know we getting ready to end this tonight, but yes, I took a week off, and like I said, I would say this is soul searching, but I took a week off to get my mind ready for coming back on here with a renewed interest and a renewed fervor as far as delivering my shows. So I took that time off and basically kind of went through, looked at my old videos, and basically just, went through and just like, okay, I could do this better. I need to eliminate this. I need to keep this in. I need to take this out. And so basically I could be my own critic. I could be my own worst critic, y'all. I could say I'm a perfectionist, but not too much of a perfectionist. But I have been up since like about 6:45, 7 o'clock this morning. So I went to work. Today I had my audit, y'all. I had my audit. It was decent. I wasn't gonna say it was great, but it was decent. We got some things to work on at the job. But on my way home, Uncle Sid called me and thought that when I got off the live last Monday, he thought that I was going to come back on Wednesday. I was like, no, I said I was going to be out for a whole week. I said I was going to be chilling for a whole week. Now, mind y'all, I did go on a couple of people's shows. I went on the Golden Boot. Shout out to the Golden Boot for letting me grace their channel, as always. And shout out to my boy First Letter, y'all. Put It On Something. Man, I was on this show. Of course, it's pre-recorded, but I was on there, and we talked about, we gave out letter grades for Jackson State football that's coming up just in time for the MEAC SWAC Challenge. So I was on those two shows, and just listen to other shows and everything. But Uncle Sid called me, and he was like, "Man, you got to tell me when you taking a break." I was like, "Bro, I said I was gonna take a break." I said I was gonna take a break. I was like, "Look, I said I'm gonna take a break because I needed it." When I decided, when I was like, I'm gonna come back, and we gonna hit the ground running. So I'm back, and I feel better. It's better than ever. Yeah, but like he was, he was telling me like, you are monumental. So I take all that to heart. I take it to heart, and I'm like, I appreciate it. I appreciate it because I ain't never heard nobody call me, what I'm doing is monumental. So I really appreciate that. And he said him and Israel, they was chit-chatting, and they was thinking that I was gonna come back on the next day. And I'm like, nah. They was like, his word was he was waiting on for the show to drop. Like he was itching for the next show to drop. And when I decided to put the thumbnail out and the title and drop it, said I'm back in Cam Newton fashion. He called me and was like, yeah, man, we we need you. We need you. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna be on here Wednesday, and we're gonna be on here Wednesday. We're gonna talk about conference realignment. We're gonna talk about these realignments going on in college football, especially on the FBS level, and what does that mean for us HBCUs? Does that mean that we form a super conference? Does that mean that we stay pat? Or does that mean that we go further into obscurity? And if you're going to be there for that, make sure that y'all tune in for that on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. As always, we're going to be here. We're going to rock the house. We're going to keep it moving. Like I said, the initiative for our child speech impediment, drive is still going on. If you have it, if you want to, go ahead and donate to that initiative, all you have to do is just hit the Cash App. When you hit the Cash App, I will shout everybody out that actually that basically helped donate it. So Miss Coleman, Miss Coleman, I appreciate you for the $10. And my boy First Letter, Mr. Put It On Something, he contributed with $25. And whenever he has an initiative, I'm gonna contribute to him, because y'all, what he does with his son with autism awareness, man, it don't get no better than that, y'all. It don't get no better than that. Also, if you want to go ahead and reach me at with some ideas for a show, just email me at hbcuoverdrive@gmail.com. If you need somebody to if you need to talk as far as what the show is, and if you got any ideas, if you can't put it in the email, you can call on there. Like I said, there's the phone number right here. I will pick up, or you can text right here. I will answer the text. And last but not least, man, look, y'all make sure that I don't talk about this all the time in the shows, but make sure that you like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe. We got 2 tiers because this just don't, just don't do this for free. Got to pay the bills for the channel. And who we got right here that dropped some money. Uncle said they'll drop 25 on us. Uncle said they'll drop 25 on us. He said for being monumental, y'all. That's his words, for being monumental. Frank Kuntz, what's going on? How you doing? How you doing, Miss Mary? Thank you. I'm back. Miss Minnie, how you doing? Miss Minnie Phil, how you doing? I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I just try to do my job. Because Uncle said this also said this is my job too. Other than what I do on the outside, working for Lids, doing this right here, this is my job also. So we pushing that content. Also, if you haven't seen, I did drop a couple of videos. One with Coach Kendrick Wade for Mississippi Valley. I did drop that video yesterday. Make sure y'all boost that up right there by viewing it. I also dropped the video Coach McNair, interviewing him during Swag Media Day. Make sure y'all boost that up right there. Of course, I did drop the video with Coach TC Taylor from Swag Media Day. So make sure y'all boost that video up too. Make sure y'all get that up. The more views that it gets, the more that the ads pay for the video. The more the ads pay for the video, the more that we get as far as with helping the channel. So it does that. Also, if you want to, you can do super chats. The super chat and the super thanks will be open up for the next show. If you want to donate through that, hey, we just got a lot of ways to get this platform up and going. We up there, y'all. We just got to get it. We just got to get it going the way we wanted to get it going. But you got KD. Thank you. Thank you. And make sure I got a channel for all my moderators, the moderators that's out there. If you haven't became a subscriber, if you haven't became an exclusive member, go ahead and hit that. You can hit the $4 or you can hit the $6. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that, and I'll shout you out. And as always, I got my Arizona iced tea with lemon flavor. Thank you, Miss Sharp. Miss Sharp with the $10 donation. No, Jawan. Let me. I gotta go back and see it. What you say, bro? Right now, let me say this. Right now, we are at $420. No pun intended. We are $420. We are quarter of a way from our, completing our initiative. And I did say 2 weeks, so hopefully we can keep getting keep getting the ball rolling, y'all. Y'all hear it? Like I said, make sure y'all donate to the initiative, please. Yeah, 420. We have 420 right now, so let's push it up. Let's push it up. Let's push it till we get to like 700 by tonight, if we can. If not, make sure that y'all pass this along to your friends and to your family, and to anybody that has a giving and caring heart. But hopefully, I'm gonna see about something. I think. Let me see, because I'm trying to figure out when first he's going to do his trying to see when he dropped that. If you haven't checked it out, man, make sure y'all check out his content. Y'all, very intellectual gangster. That's, you know what I'm saying? No pun intended right there. But y'all make sure that y'all check out his content. Make sure y'all check out his content. Make sure that y'all check out everybody's content that covers HBCUs in a positive light. Don't matter who it is. Make sure y'all check them out. Let's see what you said. Said the Battle of the Bands from Louisiana, Grambling versus Southern. The Battle of the Bands from Texas, PV versus Texas Southern. The Battle of the Bands from Florida, FAMU versus BCU. Ooh. Who do I got in each one of in each of those right there? Louisiana, I'm gonna have to get Southern. And I hate saying that, but I'm gonna have to do Southern. From Texas, since since Brian Simmons came in from Southern, I'm gonna have to go Texas Southern. Not Dr. Zachary at PV, but I don't think PV is I don't think this is Prof. Edwards PV, Marching Storm. And if you knew who Prof. Edward was from Prairie View back in the day, dude was all, he was all gas, no brakes. And band from Florida, FAMU versus BCU. I'm gonna have to go FAMU because you don't really see BCU out there. Even though they are good. You just don't really see them out there. They don't really travel that well. They stay in a little bubble. But yeah, man, I take it with that. What's going on, Mr. Sweet? Don't even sound right. What's going on, Dwayne? Prairie View Band was good in 21. But if you watch the Prof. Edwards Band back in the 80s and the 90s, I think they will give this Prairie View Band a run for their money. And don't get me wrong, Chuck, Dr. not the robot. You know, I know she's a phenomenal director for Grambling, but I think it's going to take a little bit more time for them to get back to what it was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But yeah, y'all said the March 100 bringing it in Miami. We'll see. Hey, we want to see that battle. We're gonna see that battle. For those that's going down there in Miami, y'all stay hydrated and make sure that y'all take a lot of videos and let me know what's going on in there, because we're gonna have a lot to talk about for that game for Labor Day. Also for myself, I will be in Houston. I'm gonna try to be in Houston for Labor Day. Check out PV Texas Southern, and pretty much fill out the rest of my schedule for traveling this season. Oh, behave, Miss Whitley. But yeah, it's gonna have so much. We're gonna have this season's gonna be so much interesting. It's gonna be so interesting from what we see on the field as far as football, what we see in the stands with the bands, what we see with the camaraderie with the fans. Like this season's gonna tell a lot. To me, it's gonna be more of everybody. It's not a one man. It's not going to be a one man show this season. That's what I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. So y'all interpret that right there. Let's keep pushing the initiative. Let's push the exclusive membership for the channel. Let's push more subscribers for the channel. So we got a lot to do. We got work to do. I'm down for it if y'all down for it. But we'll be back on this thing Wednesday night with conference realignment. What does that mean for us? But as always, it's your boy Doc Holliday. This has been HBCU Overdrive, where all HBCUs matter. If you haven't done it by now, make sure that you like, comment, share, most of all subscribe. Hit that notification bell to get everything HBCU Overdrive. Make sure you become an exclusive member. You got 2 tiers, Overdrive Blue, Overdrive Purple. Also, make sure that you hit that initiative, hit the Cash App of the initiative for child speech impediment. Make sure that y'all hit that. Let's get that money rolling. You need to make $2,000. Hey, let's go. But as always, man, it's your boy Doc. We be back in this thing Wednesday. Y'all be blessed. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay dangerous. Again, I love y'all. I ain't gonna take another week off like that unless I'm sick. But let's not wish that on me. But I think somebody hit me up. Okay. Got it. All right. Yeah, I'm out this thing. Peace.